Imagine this. The very first moment of your existence isn't a gentle welcome into the world. It's a plunge, a 6-foot drop straight onto hard African soil. No soft landing, no cushioning, no mercy. This is how every giraffe enters life. Not with a whimper, but with a bone-jarring crash that would kill most newborns of any other species. The mother giraffe gives birth standing up, and there's no evolutionary workaround for this brutal introduction. The calf, already 6 feet tall and weighing over 100 pounds, free falls from the birth canal to the ground below. The impact is so severe it would cause a human infant catastrophic injury. But for the giraffe, this violent beginning is just the first hint of what its extraordinary neck will cost it. We've been told the giraffe's neck is a marvel of evolution, a crowning achievement of natural selection that allows these elegant creatures to reach the highest leaves, to spot predators from miles away, to tower over the African savanna like living watchtowers. We see them on nature documentaries, moving in slow motion against golden sunsets, and we think, but what if I told you that neck, that famous, beautiful neck, is actually one of nature's cruelest punishments? That every advantage it provides comes with a price so steep that simply existing becomes an exhausting act of survival. Today, we're going to explore why the giraffe's neck isn't the blessing we've been taught to see. It's a curse wrapped in elegance, a biological burden disguised as grace. Early life, wobbling toward death. That newborn calf that just survived a 6-foot fall, its nightmare is only beginning. Within 30 minutes of birth, it must stand on legs that seem impossibly long and impossibly fragile, like trying to balance on 4 stilts made of glass. Every wobble, every uncertain step sends signals to every predator within visual range. Here is weakness, here is opportunity.
Lions watch, hyenas circle, leopards observe from the tall grass. And the baby giraffe, with its neck already 3 feet long, can't run properly yet. It can't coordinate the complicated mechanics of those gangly limbs. Its mother can defend it. A giraffe's kick can decapitate a lion, but she can't be everywhere at once. She needs to eat. She needs to drink. And every moment she looks away is a moment her baby might die. The statistics are grim. Up to 50% of giraffe calves don't survive their first year. Half of them. And that neck, the very thing that will supposedly give them an advantage as adults, makes them targets as babies. It's too long to hide, too conspicuous to camouflage. It's like wearing a neon sign in a dark forest that says, "I'm here, I'm vulnerable, come eat me." Even feeding is complicated. The calf nurses from a mother whose udders are almost at ground level, but whose milk is protected by those impossibly long legs. The baby must contort, must struggle, must expose itself to danger just to feed. And when it's time to transition to leaves, that neck that can't yet reach the high branches gets tangled in low shrubs, gets caught in thorn bushes, becomes a liability instead of a tool. Every early moment of a giraffe's life is a reminder. That neck isn't a gift you're given, it's a debt you're born owing. The challenge, the heart that never rests. Let's talk about what it takes just to keep a giraffe alive, just to keep blood flowing through that absurdly long neck to a brain that sits 18 feet above the ground. A giraffe's heart weighs 25 pounds. For context, a human heart weighs less than a pound. And it doesn't just pump, but it fights. It generates blood pressure 2 to 3 times higher than any other mammal because every single beat has to force oxygen up a 10-foot vertical column just to reach the brain. Imagine your heart working 10 times harder than it does now every second of every day just so you can remain conscious.
But that's only half the problem. When a giraffe lowers its head to drink, an action most animals take for granted, that sudden rush of high-pressure blood toward the brain should cause a catastrophic stroke. So evolution had to build in an elaborate system of valves, spongy tissue, and pressure-regulating vessels in the neck just to prevent the giraffe from dying every time it gets thirsty. And breathing? Every breath is a marathon. The giraffe's windpipe is 6 feet long. Air has to travel 6 feet down, then 6 feet back up through a tube that creates so much dead space that giraffes need enormous lungs just to exchange enough oxygen. They can't breathe rapidly like most animals. They can't pant when they're hot. Their entire respiratory system is compromised by that neck. Then there's the nervous system. The recurrent laryngeal nerve, which controls the voice box, travels from the brain down the entire length of the neck, loops around a blood vessel near the heart, then travels all the way back up to the larynx. In a giraffe, that's a 30-foot round trip for a nerve that could have made the journey in 3 inches. It's one of evolution's most inefficient designs, a biological detour that serves no purpose except to demonstrate that the neck wasn't designed at all. It was cobbled together from what already existed. Consequences be damned. Every system in the giraffe's body is pushed to its absolute limit just to accommodate that neck. It's not working 10 times harder, it's working 10 times harder and inefficiently. The neck isn't just a burden, it's a biological crisis happening in slow motion every moment of every day. Adult life, the drinking dilemma. Picture the most vulnerable position you can imagine for an animal on the African savanna. Now multiply that vulnerability tenfold. That's a giraffe trying to drink water. To reach the ground, a giraffe must splay its front legs wide apart in an awkward, almost obscene split, then slowly lower that massive neck down to the water's surface. In this position, it cannot run, it cannot fight, it cannot even see properly. Its eyes are now only a few feet from the ground, its field of vision completely compromised. And it knows. Every giraffe knows that this is when the crocodiles strike, when the lions attack, when death is most likely to arrive. So they've evolved to be among the most water-efficient mammals on Earth, drinking only once every few days, getting most of their hydration from leaves. But that efficiency comes at a cost. Chronic dehydration, especially during droughts. Every sip of water is a calculated risk. Drink too little, and you die of thirst. Drink too long, and you die with your throat ripped out. The neck that supposedly gives giraffes access to the highest food sources becomes a death sentence the moment they need the lowest resource, water. And feeding isn't much better. Yes, they can reach high branches, other herbivores can't. But they also have to eat nearly 100 pounds of vegetation daily just to maintain their massive bodies. That neck doesn't give them more food options, it gives them different food options they can only access by working harder than any other herbivore. Meanwhile, they're constantly injured by the very trees they eat. Acacia thorns, some several inches long, pierce their tongues, their mouths, the soft tissue of their throats. The giraffe has evolved a thick, muscular tongue and tough mouth tissue, but injuries still happen. Infections still develop. And because of that blood pressure problem, a wound that would be minor in another animal can cause a giraffe to bleed out in minutes. And feeding isn't much better. Yes, they can reach high branches other herbivores can't, but they also have to eat nearly 100 pounds of vegetation daily just to maintain their massive bodies. That neck doesn't give them more food options, it gives them different food options they can only access by working harder than any other herbivore. Meanwhile, they're constantly injured by the very trees they eat. Acacia thorns, some several inches long, pierce their tongues, their mouths, the soft tissue of their throats. The giraffe has evolved a thick, muscular tongue and tough mouth tissue, but injuries still happen. Infections still develop. And because of that blood pressure problem, a wound that would be minor in another animal can cause a giraffe to bleed out in minutes. Threats. Decline. Stretched to breaking. As if the biological curse of the neck weren't enough, humans have added our own pressures. Giraffe populations have declined by 40% in the last 3 decades, a silent extinction happening while we're distracted by more charismatic megafauna like elephants and rhinos. Poachers target giraffes for bushmeat and tail hair bracelets. Their size makes them easy to spot. Their awkward movements make them easy to chase. That neck that's supposed to help them see danger coming makes them visible to danger from miles away. There's no hiding when you're 18 feet tall. Habitat loss is worse. As human development fragments the savanna, giraffes need to travel farther for food and water.
And every extra mile means more energy expenditure for bodies already pushed to their limits. Climate change brings more frequent droughts, which means less vegetation and fewer opportunities to drink safely.
And here's the bitter irony. The giraffe's unique adaptations make them almost impossible to rescue. They can't be easily relocated. The stress of transport can literally kill them, their hearts giving out under the strain. They can't be bred reliably in captivity. The complex social structures and mating behaviors don't translate well to zoos. Conservation efforts that work for other species fail for giraffes because evolution designed them so specifically for one environment that any deviation becomes fatal. That neck, stretched over millions of years to reach higher branches, has now stretched the species itself to the breaking point. Gravity's longest punishment. We end where we began, with a fall. Every giraffe's life starts with a 6-foot drop and continues as a slow-motion descent toward extinction. That elegant neck we admire in photographs and documentaries isn't a crown. It's an anchor. It's not lifting the giraffe above the world, it's pulling it slowly, inexorably toward the ground. What looks like grace is really just the illusion of grace. An animal that's learned to move carefully because every motion is dangerous. That's learned to look calm because panic would be fatal. That stands tall not out of pride, but because lying down might mean never getting up again. The giraffe's neck is evolution's most beautiful mistake. Proof that natural selection doesn't create perfection, just whatever works just enough to survive another generation. And sometimes what works is barely distinguishable from what kills you. So the next time you see a giraffe, don't marvel at its gift, more in its curse. That neck isn't reaching toward the sky, it's reaching toward oblivion. And gravity, patient, relentless gravity, is always waiting at the bottom.